Since I have Angela here with, We Insure the Bay, We Insure Tampa Bay, WeInsureTheBay.com. I wanted to talk to you really quickly about, how this is such an important time of year for people to shop around for their insurance needs. You're going to have some time off. You're going to have that period between Christmas and New Year's where you're going to be at home, and there's people out there that are losing hundreds of dollars a year on bad insurance policies or overpaying with carriers that cost more. It's just such a great time for them to take a little bit of time out of their day, call you, and figure out where you could potentially save them some money.
And it's also the time of year where a lot of the carriers start to do their increases. We just saw Citizens come out and they got approved to do almost an 8% increase on their insurance. So, I had a client who called me a couple weeks ago, and we did a very inexpensive what's called a 4-point inspection on her house. She spent $85 on it and ended up saving over $800 a year on her homeowners insurance. So it's great to make sure that you're shopping around, because you just never know. Carriers kind of fluctuate. Some do increases, some do decreases as they want to come more into the market. And we have access to over 160 carriers, so shop around your rate, and it definitely is a good time of year.
Well, and it's also, let's be frank and say that this is also the time of year when most people go into the most debt. So their payments on their credit cards increase, everything increases because they spend too much money in a lot of cases, and sometimes that could be offset by, okay, now your credit card bill is going to go up. What else can you reduce? Can you shop around and find a better homeowners policy, or better car insurance policy, a better business insurance policy? It's all spends the same. Dollar spend, it's a dollar, it's a dollar, it's a dollar. So if you can, if you have more bills coming over here because you indulged during the holiday season, and God bless you for doing it, but there's a way where you might be able to get your bills back to the same number by shopping insurance around.
Yeah, and it would be great too, because this is January is the time of year when your team starts to reach out to their home buyers from the previous year to make sure that they did like their homestead and they've got their HUD if they need it for taxes. So it'd be a great idea too, just to kind of plug in the insurance side and say, hey, when's the last time you shopped for your rate, and just reach out to me and see what we can do for you. The
other thing I'll tell you, and this is something I learned firsthand, prior to you starting the homeowners insurance and auto insurance business with We Insure the Bay. Prior to you starting that, we'd always done a lot of our, you go online, you go to one of the major carriers and you get quotes and you shop them around, and what you miss is that you're only shopping 2 or 3 carriers instead of 150. Number one. And number two is that there's sometimes you don't really kind of understand what that policy means. Like, what is uninsured or underinsured, motorist protection? What does it really cover? Kind of explaining the deductible and the pros and cons of that, and really kind of customizing the insurance for you. And there's no extra cost to a consumer for that, to actually talk to a person, because the goal for you is to save the person money. It's with the right policy, not to skimp on a policy and give them a bad, cheap policy, but to find the coverage that works best for them and find it more inexpensively. And I think, again, computers can do so much. We've seen the real estate industry drastically changed in the last couple of years because of big Wall Street hedge funds coming in and saying, we're going to plug your address into a computer and we'll spit out an offer. And we've heard the horror stories, the renegotiations on inspection, we've heard the gobs of horror stories because computers can't do the job of qualified real estate people. And the same thing on the insurance side. There's a lot of stuff that gets lost in translation.
Right. And just going over the coverages and figuring out what's important to you. The rate at the end of the day is important, but maybe the deductible or some of the additional things that we can cover that you might not think about. Even like with a condo, you can't control your neighbors, so having water backup or making sure that you have mold coverage, because you're not going to see the mold within the walls. So just going over and explaining all that, I enjoy the education piece for our clients as well.
One of the things that was cool for me too, in kind of learning through you, as you started, with We Insure Tampa Bay, the interesting thing for me was how you can make some comparisons between insurance carriers and mortgage lenders. In the mortgage world, we have what's called overlays, which are basically, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and VA have all these guidelines. But, and then the loans in many instances are sold to the secondary market, and they have to fit certain criteria. Well, banks, for example, may take that criteria and put their own terms on top of it, to protect their own risk. You may get denied from one lender and they say, oh, you know, you got denied, and then you go to another lender and they don't have the same overlay, they get you qualified and they, you know, they help you buy a house. On the mortgage side, it's the same thing. For example, some lenders won't let you customize your deductible to a certain place. You know, your risk tolerance may be different than what, you know, one online insurance company will let you plug in, and you could then say, you know what, I'm comfortable with a deductible of up to X. But this insurance company doesn't let me go higher or lower. It keeps the deductible there it is. You can customize all that.
Yeah, and some of the differences when you talk about the lenders too, you know, some lenders require you to insure up to your purchase price or to your loan amount, which if you think about it, you know, it kind of makes sense. But when you're going into areas like South Tampa, for example,
Land value.
where the land value is huge, you don't need to insure the land, right? If a hurricane comes through, the land is still there. You didn't
Right.
damage the land.
Right. If you've got a
still there.
$600,000 house and your land's worth $250,000, you really need $350,000 in coverage. I mean,
Right.
for most people, again,
Yeah.
every person's going to be different, but you've still got something that's sellable.
Yeah.
You know, if the house gets blown down.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about Atlantic Bay Mortgage is they don't require the loan amount to be insured. You know, we have calculations and formulas to determine what the cost would be to rebuild that
Replacement
house.
cost,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you know it's great for Atlantic Bay, and I love working